Hi, I'm Eric, and welcome to my show. I'm not a professional at anything. You're going to be watching me uh, create this show as we go. That's not really fair, but it is what it is. So hopefully you have some patience to watch this grow and evolve. Move that out of the way. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. I guess not. All right. So look, talking about fulfillment. Who am I and why am I here? I am for the last 30, 40 years. I've been full of anxiety and depression. But don't worry, I was self medicated. Now, that's not a sob story. That is the fuel that I had for growth. Your obstacles are the fuel that you have for growth. My obstacles were the fuel that I had for growth. And so now I go about finding ways to live a fulfilled life with a spirit centered focus. This isn't about religion. This is about I I call it experiential spirituality, but I know that's a thing, and I don't know exactly what that thing is. I'm gonna have to read that book still. But I also take cool, rad photos while I'm traveling around to the different national parks and different parks in Michigan, where I'm from, and I incorporate that with my talk. Um, the anxiety and depression and the self medication, like I said, all fuel for self discovery. Um, I don't know how many months or years worth of meditation and study of books on tape back when that was a thing, because we're talking about 34 years of study in mindset and spirituality and health to get to the point where I'm at, because it took a lot of work, and the work was again fuel to get me to this point so that I could share with other people what helped me, as I would hope they would share with me what helped them. And in this way, we propel each other. We push each other forward. Um, and this is what I spend my days with. So hopefully, I can bring it to you in a concise, sort of boiled down, uh, distilled, clear manner would be the idea. And most recently here, I was traveling. You'll see I got Bucky's in the background. This is not an advertisement for Bucky's, but I was headed down to Texas, and I did a personal development seminar down in Texas. Maybe I'll share that with you at some point, but right now we'll just go with a generalization, because that would be a promoted effort, and that's not what this is about. This is about just providing value for one of the first things when you spend a lot of time going through and learning a new way about something. First thing you want to do is share it, because you don't want other people to suffer the same way you do, and you realize that that's not a realistic goal. So you just want to provide whatever you can so that anybody who's looking maybe has more resources than you did, or is a little bit smarter. We stand on the shoulders of our predecessors, and hopefully the things that I've had to deal with, the generations, or not even generations, people older, younger, or wherever, um, past or future people can benefit from what you've gone through. So then I know when I'm yawning, I'm finding some, I'm digging deep. But anyways, I came across Bucky's here. I was in um, the Smokies, right? This was southeast of Knoxville. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess okay. So one of the things I like to do, let's see what this is about. One of the things I like to do, that's my school time. When I'm driving in the car, I constantly have something streaming. It's generally has to do with business or spirituality or mindset. Um, that is where my focus always is. So let's see. Let's go with let's tune this down a little bit. Just see what I was listening to. Oh, I don't remember who that was, but he was talking about how. Oh, I'm moving my camera around here. Let's see. Oh, 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 brother. Hello. Hi there. Hey there, buddy. Okay. So he's talking about how back in the day they couldn't, industrials couldn't the industries couldn't find enough compliant factory workers, so they started up schools in order to train people for to work in the factories. That's where you got, the easy examples are like um how the bells work at a certain time, and it's the same as the bells or the whistles in a factory. Um, there's it's escaping me, and everybody's heard this story before, but that's why schools were set up, is to get compliant factory workers. But moving on, some of these might be neat little drives. So I thought that sign was pretty cool. We got Primitive Baptist Church. I really don't know what that means. I'm sure there's a good joke in there right now, but I don't know what it is. I was here. I was looking for some caves in the area, so that's what I like. I like caves, rivers, forests, mountains. Natural features. And these particular caves. This was about 6, 7 in the morning. I ended up at these caves, and they weren't open till 10, and I couldn't wait. I had to make it the next day by 3 p.m. To roughly Dallas, Texas. So I couldn't wait for this to open up, which is okay because where I ended up was damn cool as well. But yeah, I can go through some of these pictures of just going through the trip. Now, and this isn't only about my trip. There's all kinds of stuff I want to talk about here with regard to um, how do we live a successful life from a spirit centered focus. Understanding the true nature of your own existence. We're getting to the root of this, but this is going to take some practice. So, what is the true nature of your own existence? So, first, we're going to talk about something that's gaining more popularity nowadays, and it was sort of hidden from our consciousness for some time, but that is simply awareness itself. And this is a part of the triad of self, because everything seems to work in threes in this existence. This is part of the triad of self, is awareness itself, right? It's not consciousness. It's not the same thing. It's not essence. It's not the same thing. It is awareness itself. So, though your name changes, your mind changes, your thoughts, your emotions change. The cells in your body change out at different rates, but they change out. Some say that there is some evidence that there are a few cardiac cells that may last a person's entire lifetime, which is interesting, because maybe you are your heart. However, the point is that the cells of your body change out over the course of your life. Your titles change, your relationships change, your possessions change. Any of it can come and go. And yet you are still here. The one who witnesses these changes is the one who is persistent, right? I just kind of gave you the answer there without a whole lot to do about it. Who is the one who is aware of these changes that go on? There has to be, because there has to be some persistence that makes you you. Now you could say, okay, yeah, there's cellular memory. There is a memory that carries on and replicates, and there's RNA that sort of carries things across but it's still a new version of you. But what is it that makes you you, and not just like this remanufactured version of you? Because then that wouldn't be you anymore. You would be a clone of yourself, which in a way you are. So you're reborn all the time as a new version of self. But there still is some mode of persistence, right? And this, of course, has been looked at through the ages, especially before social media that you could waste your time scrolling through all day. We spent a lot of time looking at um, the matters of consciousness, matters of existence, matters of the stars and nature, much more than we do today. We looked within our own self, I think. And certainly there was more ignorance at times in the past. And I don't know where I'm going with that, but I am letting on to certain proclivities of thought that I have. And we'll go over these things in detail over time. Um, you know, the idea was that I study in the morning and I take down notes, but then by the time I get to the recording, there's other things I want to talk about. I do want to talk about success versus being successful. Being successful, I would define as you're successful in your life, in the different areas of your life that you have success, as opposed to success, whereas in maybe you have success in one area of life. You're a brilliant businessman, but at home everything's falling apart. That's not successful. You're in very good shape, but you have no money. That's not successful. But you're broke. You're brilliant and you're kind to people, but y- you know, you're broke and you're out of shape. That's not successful. But you have success in certain areas of life. And you become the person who has these things. And I believe that there is a little bit of an unconscious programming that we can only have, you know, that these different areas of life, success in different areas of life becomes somewhat mutually exclusive. Like for instance, you have jocks, which are commonly portrayed as dumb. Not always, but it's a common stereotype. Or smart guys who are smart people who are commonly portrayed as socially awkward and um, maybe clumsy. And so I believe that this sort of informs as to an unconscious message that we sell ourselves, that you can only be successful over here or over here, but not everywhere at one time, which I think is complete nonsense. I think that these, being successful in your life is a skill that you can learn and move towards. And if you can't accomplish certain goals in your life, it's because you're not the type of person that can accomplish those goals. That's the bad news. The good news is that you can transcend yourself. You can transcend any situation. Humans have that ability, right? You can become the type of person that can make this over here happen. It doesn't have to be at the cost of necessarily something else over here. So you can still be a good person and be wealthy and be smart and well educated and be financially well off and have good relationships and family life. But you have to look at the qualities that people who are successful in these areas of life have, the values they have, how they think, how they act. You don't have to become them, but what are the drivers? They're always tiny little details of things that add up incrementally over time. And this is almost a fundamental law of the universe, is that uh it's not about major big changes. We all want a magic pill that's going to solve everything, or the lottery ticket that's going to win us the millions today. But the reality is that your life is the culmination of the day-to-day, moment-to-moment things that you do. And that only becomes possible and sustainable to stick with those types of things when you're on task, when you're on target with yourself, with what you want out of life, with your heart's desire. Because if you are simply focused in on what it is, okay, pardon me. If you're simply focused in on what it is that let's keep these videos rolling, bud. You gotta be on target with that. Yeah. So this is, I think, I'm going through Tennessee here. Pretty sure. Yeah, Tennessee. I'm going west through Tennessee, and let's see what highway I'm on. 40. So I'm on 40. That's our major, U.S. interstate, in the southern third of the country. So it's important that the point is it's important that you become the person that can attain the goals that you want to attain. If you want to be a successful business person, then you need to do those little things that they do. That the ones who have it down to a science, not the ones who look like they're working too hard because they don't know what they're doing yet. What was that? I wrote that down. I think it was an Einstein quote. He said, something to the effect of there are four levels of intelligence. There's bright, brilliant, genius, and simple. If you can take sophisticated concepts and make them clear in your life for yourself so that you simplify things and they're sustainable and they're followable and can really take them and implement them into your life in a way that you can consistently and incrementally improve every single day. This is how we create the parabolic growth in anything. Um, and the great thing about, damn it, here we go with the camera again. Damn it, boy. That's good enough. One thing I like to do is I like to train for a lifetime, right? One great thing about that is I constantly learn and remind myself that it's okay to start new things where I don't know anything. It doesn't matter how much I've built myself up over in this area over here. There's always going to be something over here that I don't know shit about, right? And I have to be not afraid to be a beginner in things because in doing so, I allow myself the opportunity to continue to grow and become the person that maybe I would be pretending to be if I didn't do new things. Um, but the things that you can commit to and find that you can incrementally improve on every single day, just 1% per day, is leads to parabolic growth over time. And that is a wonderful rule of thumb. What can I do today that I know I can stick to? Because it's in line with my value systems, with my vision, with who I want to be, right? That I'm not going to skip out on and be lazy about. Just what's the little thing that I can start today? So maybe you can't um look, we all know about visualization and SMART goals, things like that. But this, I'm giving you a driver. It's not about the goals. It's about who do I have to become to be able to achieve those goals. That's the focus. The focus is not, as we already know, if you haven't heard, you can't just sit on the couch and visualize what you want without aligned action. You have to have aligned action in your life. You have to have aligned action in your mind. If you sit and visualize something for 5 minutes a day and the rest of the day you're beating the shit out of yourself, you can forget it. There's a concept now. You can say this in a variety of ways, but the way I like to say it is that you have to sort of shun the darkness in your own consciousness and look at the light. And in doing this, and I'll explain that further, but in doing this, we forge new neural pathways. So if, for instance, and I had this going on for years, is that when I'm tired, that's funny that I yawn on cue like that. But when I'm tired, in the morning or at night, most of my life it has been there's been like a deep depression associated with that fatigue. Now it's not the same nowadays. Nowadays it's gotten to the point where even if there is depression in the morning, I have practiced enough so that the new neural pathways, I can focus on, I have a vision of myself that I've created that it is aligned. It's not hard to hold. I found something that, how would I describe it? It is the base of what my heart wants. Not necessarily what my head wants, but it is the base of what my heart wants. And again, we'll go over these things over time, but there, how you hold that image in your mind is important. And it's important that it's something that you can easily go back to. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a shit stain on the side of the road, or do you hold yourself in high regard? And maybe not now, but you have this vision of who you want to be, and that's what you're working towards. In the same way, you can visualize a sandwich from the fridge and what you have to go through and what that will look like and what it'll taste like. You have a vision of yourself and what you want in your life for yourself. And so, really, instead of necessarily focusing on the goals, which I do have my own goals that I don't write them down every day, but that's the aim. Write 10 goals a day. I definitely do write down what I'm grateful for each day, at least 10 things, at least once a day, sometimes more than once. But what's important is that what's next here? What's important is that we become the person who can attain these goals, and then the goals become effortless, right? That is the major driver, becoming that person. Especially if you can't sustainably attain the goals that you have set out for yourself, and you've proven over the course of days or weeks or millennia that you can't attain that goal, then guess what? Maybe it's time to become that new person that you know you must become in order to easily attain those goals. And in the same way that, you know, you work out, you can perform physical feats much easier than you could if you were out of shape. And so these things, they come much easier to you when you are the person that can attain those things. So here we are at Ozone State Falls. I'm not going to try and read it. It's too glary. Maybe I'll try and post a picture somewhere. Okay. So, but now this is a mystical place, a mystical place. I had no idea. I just sort of looked for waterfalls and caves, like I said, and I found this. And it was not too far out of the way. I was on a time constraint, looking to get to Dallas, Texas, by the following day at um 3 o'clock. And so, okay, that's what my grandma used to say. Okay, Eric, when I'd spend the night there when I was a wee boy. Okay, Eric. That meant she was tired. It was close to bedtime, which was upsetting because, I was having fun hanging out at Grandma and Grandpa's. Grandpa would build me a tent and pretend to be a bear. That was a good time. Now, back to Ozone State Park here is we're walking down, and then it just seems like a regular old park, and it's cool because they got this rocky stuff that you're kind of walking through. I think I got the volume on. You always like where you start to see rocks and it's not just dirt and trees. And then there's a river, which is always awesome. Rivers are great. I had no idea what I was going to see though, as I started to get into this park. And let's fast forward a little bit here. We get down, and again, like I said, we're in a mountainous region here. We're more in the foothills of the Rockies, if even that. It's still hilly in this area, but it's rock. There's a lot of rock. which always, sort of exposes itself near the water. And as you can see on here, there's a nice pathway leading up to, when we start to get into the more magical area. Incidentally, this was one of the filming locations for the Jungle Book movie, which is kind of neat. I'm gonna have to check that movie out. I don't know that it was very well received or not, but that's kind of cool that I just stumbled on that. I love these formations, these rock walls right along a river. It's just gorgeous like that. Um, but this is only the tip of the iceberg, as we shall see. Oh, hey, buddy. Yeah, yeah, we see that. We see it. I don't know if he was pointing at the tree or the rock wall, one of the two. Oh. Sorry, I'm yawning so much. It's just I just am. So look, there's plenty of people that are out there that are able, well intentioned, and hardworking, but those are not the drivers. That's the drivers of slavery, really, to be quite honest. They're admirable qualities, but they're not all you need to have success in your life. That will make you productive, quite likely a good person, but it doesn't mean you're gonna have success in all areas of life. And quite honestly, good luck if anybody but you cares. It's just how it is. It's not, of course, a blanket statement, but in a way it is. Like, if you're wealthy, you of course want your kids to be well off if you taught them right and they figure that out for themselves. But it's not something that you have control over. This is really cool. I like these. I like this. I love this because it's not walled off or gated off in any area. It's just that it's naturally how it was. But there is just you can just walk right up, and this 110-foot drop off right there, which is just amazing. Normally you don't have that type of access to um in just a roadside place. Now there's lots of mountains and things you can go climb. There's places you can go climb, but a lot of times stuff is gated off and you can't see it how you want to. But this is great. It's 110 feet from the waterfall down. And it just seems like a littlest little fall, but look at this. It's gorgeous. And we're going to get down in there. And look at how this pool, it's like, where is all this water going? Right? Where does that water go? Now, who you are is dependent completely upon who you believe yourself to be, and who you prove yourself to be. You believe unconsciously, you believe who you are by the thoughts that you have consistently and what you prove to yourself through your own behavior. This is a big part of why it takes such, incremental improvements, because you have to train yourself to believe that you are this person, and at the same time you have to build this person up to be who you want them to be. But we have this beautiful ability to be able to do that. And this is why, well, this is one of the reasons why whatever was happening in the past, whoever you were in the past, is irrelevant to a certain point, because you can completely reprogram yourself, all aspects, and you're a different person. Now, you're still the one that has the awareness. You are the witness. You are the individualized awareness. And this brings up a point, is that you are not just conscious. You are not just aware. You are awareness itself. You are consciousness itself. You're not just alive. You are life itself. You have sprung forth from eternity. And yes, things are difficult. And yes, there's obstacles. Those obstacles, though, are there to help you grow. They are growth opportunities. Even the obstacles that we consider as self created, they're growth opportunities. And so you have sprung forth from eternity with the full support of said eternity, the full support to learn and grow until you get to a point where, well, what they call it is a state of grace. I like that term, a state of grace, where you don't need, stop kicking the camera, okay, buddy, where you don't need the pain in order to grow anymore, because you've moved beyond that animalistic um, state of being. You have moved into a state of grace where you have become the conscious observer of your own life. And when you become the conscious observer, as opposed to sort of the interferer, right? When we say get in our own way, it's because we become so consumed with our individuality, our ego, our intellect, our identity. We become so consumed with it that we get in our own way and sort of self-destruct our own life in certain ways, as opposed to simply allowing it and observing it and letting it be who it is, expressing itself how it wants to be. But we sit in judgment of ourselves and others, and in this way we interfere with natural processes. That's not very godlike. Although you in core are divinity, you yourself have already awakened. If you've had those moments, um, maybe they've occurred for you once a decade, or eventually once a year, and then once they'll progressively get more till eventually you are so aware and enlightened of self that that awareness is almost all the time, and the falling out of awareness is the shorter amount of time. Whereas maybe not, but you have to build up to that point where you have that confidence and that realization, and you're not falling back into the darkness. You're staying up in the light. Was this a video? No, this is still top side up here of the ozone river, but we're gonna. Oh yeah, some of these videos are kind of cool. Let's see what we got here. It's great because I'm kind of just hanging over the edge. Just I feel like I need a strap on my phone if that's what I'm using for the camera. Um, because you're out and about across the country and you drop your phone. eh, Okay, there, big guy. It's not gonna be desirable. But yeah, that's a mystical, magical land, and there's these are just some overhangs, but there's cliffs down in that area, or there's caves and all sorts of wonderful things, and then this pool of water that goes to nowhere. Like I said, hi. But when you're standing next to that, that's a lot of energy. Just clearing energy, just clean, crisp, clear wave that sort of sticks with you. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Oh, I guess I was kind of waiting for this part. Oh, hey there, big guy. You're so cool. Okay. So, seeing that right there, I wish I would have walked behind the falls. I guess I didn't. I don't know. I didn't really plan that out effectively while I was there. Next time I'm going to go behind there for sure. But let's move forward. I yeah, I got a few more pictures of the and then I start sort of walking away from the falls. I think this was my yeah. That cliff, it's a sheer drop 110 feet to the water, but then as I go this way, uh up this path towards the road, which is up in here, it diverges. So there's a path that goes down back into this area. So you can get down there, which was pretty wonderful. I only figured that out when I saw a couple hiking down there. But we'll fast forward through this a little bit. It's kind of neat. Like I said, I like those rocky surfaces that get exposed like that. It's a pretty cool area. Um, let's skip this one. Okay, so yeah, I'm walking down this path, and down here, I eventually come to this. Like, there's the road, and then this little, you know, walkway that goes down to it. And then it kind of turns this way. And this is so great because it's such a wonderful thing and it's relatively unimproved. Yeah, I know it is. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, it's neat. There's you get the water running down over time that leaves the staining effects for whatever minerals are in the water, but then there's on top of it the this is all a similar rock. I think it's granite mixed in with a little bit of stuff. Um there is some layering in the rock. I'm going to have to up my geology if I'm going to continue as I continue this. Down in here there's some caves which are pretty legit. That was I kind of checked it out at first, but I'm in an unfamiliar area by myself. I don't have any bear spray. I got no weapons on me, and I thought, "Oh, I can't see in there. What could be peering out at me?" So I didn't want to be a dumbass, but I was also kind of a wuss at the same time. Watch. because there's no like mountain lions hanging out in there. This is a pathway that humans use. I don't think, anyways. But look at these all these little caves and stuff. They're so cool until you can get down to ones that you can actually access. Holy mackerel, Andy. Yeah. Yes, very cool. Watch me wuss out and walk away from it. But that just reminds me to bring a flashlight. Oh, so cool. Let's go away. I don't know. Really, and maybe it's smart, but I now here it's like I guess this is a path, but in these areas you definitely want to preserve the nature, the beauty of it and the nature and whatever's underfoot, this there's growth that you can destroy. So you definitely want to stick to the pathway. And sometimes, though, inadvertently, you can stray from the path and you just do your best to get back on it and not destroy anything. And I think I had strayed from the path on this. So I think it would have been better to stick along the face of the rock. But I think I wandered from it, not only because I was a wuss with the imaginary mountain lions, but also because the rocks looked slick over there. So what else do we got? Yeah, your capacity for visualization. Now, we kind of talked about becoming the person that you want to be and your capacity to visualize whatever it is that you can agree with. Because you're going to have you're going to want to visualize whatever it is. Let's just say money because that's an easy go-to. And you can't. Like there's some kind of sort of conflict. And if you're listening to this show, then you probably think a little bit deeper and you wonder about things like, can I pass through the gates of heaven and be rich? Which is a common conflict, which is, as far as I'm concerned, implanted conflict. It's not really a conflict at all. If you, we want the people with the heart in the right place to have the abundance. With your morals, your integrity, your heart in the right place, we want you to have the abundance, right? Abundance does not mean evil. Yes, there is. I plan on going back there. It is a wonderful place. I've already directed other friends to go there. But please take care of it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Um, so abundance. You know, can you pass through the gates of heaven, which is a essentially a state of mind? Because you realize over time that you're already there. You are already enlightened. You are already awake. You go, oh, I've been here the whole time. When you come into that a mystical wonderland is right. You think there's like fairies gonna pop out from behind the rocks, and the a unicorn's gonna walk out of the mist, and a gnome is gonna come up and offer you a cookie. Or maybe it's an elf. tavern system that runs underneath. It's just a pool up here. That's out down here. Right. So, what's next on the agenda here? Yeah, it's some beautiful pictures here. Oh, that was yeah, those are you snap the pictures while you're taking video. Okay, let's see what we got here. So you got yeah, so, well, y- as long as the money stays out of your heart. The money needs to be in your pocket, but not in your heart, right? Money goes in your pocket, love in your heart. Yeah, I love that. That always reminds me of, yeah, hello, buddy. That always reminds me of Key West. In Key West, they got that particular tree where the root systems are exposed like that, just at a grand scale. I'll try and find some of the pictures sometime. There's no try, Eric. I actually started walking around with a book on top of my head today. I heard the idea of being majestic based on the idea of being majestic. I thought that was cool. Little hole in the but you have to be able to envision. Envision. What else we got here? Yeah, just you can't beat that. I didn't want to go in the water. I didn't know exactly what's in there. But I don't know, maybe next time. Bring a mask. If I can see under there, it's different. I'm just jumping in the damn water. Look at how just phenomenal that is. I'm I'm not that good of a cameraman. You just can't take a bad shot. Just everything is so cool. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Still at the same place here. And the river's just taking a little turn at a rock wall. Oh, let's see what we got here. It's 2 minutes. Yeah. But you want to be able to envision the best you can and in something that aligns with your heart first. Start there. That's how you get strong. Do things that you can do. Right? Don't try and go for, people give these commands on how you should envision, but you envision things all the time. It's not always through seeing them in your mind. A lot of times it's through smell or feeling or hearing or sometimes even touch. How do you hold these things in your mind? And the best way to find one of those things is when you're hungry. How do you envision feeding yourself, or how do you envision the food in a way that is successful for you to get fed? Not just food, but good food. And so that's important. Um, but start with things that are simple, things that resonate with your heart. Doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to sit and all of a sudden be able to envision the perfect life. Envision something that is close to your heart and simple to envision, and then build on that. I was thinking of I got a note, the unconscious mind compared to the conscious mind. The conscious mind, of course, is a wonderful tool, and it's the intellect. Um, I can't remember. I've looked this up before. I don't know. The conscious mind, intellect, is associated with the prefrontal cortex. And I want to say that like dolphins might have that, and a couple other animals, maybe a specific whale or primates. I can't remember. I should have looked it up. But um that attribute of consciousness, it's a struggle. We're learning to it's rather new. We're learning to master it. We're still sort of in our animal instincts for the most part, but at the same time we're learning to deal with consciousness, and we have these conflicts. And with consciousness comes egos, comes the recognition of individuality of self. That way. Good for you, buddy. I agree. Yeah. It doesn't seem to make a difference. Oh, I guess it does. Oh, I wanted to see. I wanted to see if it would bounce too much if I held the camera down. Oh, where's my hand? Like I was holding it like this, kinda. Then it's like a shock absorber. But if I held it down with my arms straight, it was more comfortable and you could sustain it for a longer time. But it might be too bouncy. But it seems like it's all right. It wasn't a monument. It was a chair. But that's ridiculously cool, right? My little snapshots. I mean, what I've never seen a cooler family room, fireplace, chairs, just mystical, just all this every tiny little detail that nature created, in the mind of nature sprung forth this creation. This is gorgeous. And when you're in that creation, as with any other, you are an aspect of that creation. It's a beautiful divine creature. You are. See where you, oh, we got a couple minutes here. See where I go with this. Mhm. But now yeah. Now the unconscious mind. I liken to a calculator. I built it up when I was talking before. It is a miraculous thing. Compared to the unconscious, however, it is a calculator. It is, I would liken it to just a simple calculator, not even a scientific calculator, just a simple 1 through 9 minus times divided plus. Maybe a memory function for one number. Whereas the unconscious mind would be a quantum computer. It's like, kept down to near freezing point with, what would you use? Liquid nitrogen. The unconscious mind is like Darth Vader. Well, unconscious is strong with the force. I mean, you have to agree with that. You have to. You must. The Yeah, the wonderful thing is that that's, I guess, one of the points today is that we absolutely have the ability to transcend who we were, right? And so if you change who you are, like as a human, as a tool, say a hand tool, you're a screwdriver, you're a screwdriver. If you want to become a hammer, you kind of got to get melted down and forged into a completely different tool. And probably got to add some different materials. So you're just something completely different. As a human, you can do this exact same thing. You can melt yourself down in an absolute metaphorical type of way and become something completely different. This is called transcending because we are adaptable creatures. You can transcend and can become something completely different. Eh, oh, hello, hello. You can adapt and become something completely different. And when you do that, it's important to just really recognize who it is that you are that transcends even that, that survives that process of transcending yourself. And then over time, we'll get into the essential qualities of self, like the essence. I think of that as more of the soul or the consciousness. Conscious is different levels. Awareness is simply the awareness of this consciousness. Would be my simple way of putting it. But there's some that would say that essence and awareness and consciousness are all the same thing. But I would say that no, there's most certainly um, delineations and there's differences uh, that are worth pointing out. Whether we're going to use those words or not, I seem to like those words, and we'll explore that over time. But I think, yeah, it looks at this point, I'm actually walking back towards the car. which is just a beautiful view. And you can see why I'm talking about. This is so gorgeous. Such a great place. I was not hunting for places that the Jungle Book was filmed. Really was the last thing that would have reached my mind. But now that I have found this, I guess there's two other places in Tennessee that was also filmed. So I'm going to check those out and I'll report back. If your thoughts change and your emotions change, body changes, your possessions, your relationships, your location, your titles, your jobs, everything about you changes, and yet you are still there. Most, if not all, of the cells in your body change out over the course of your lifetime. Still there. What is it about you that's still there? I don't know. Those are deep thoughts there, buddy. It is the awareness itself. And so, really the point of this show is to offer support to those who think a little deeper. And that's not everybody. So if this show's not for you, it's not for you. Not to say that you don't, I'm not trying to insult you if you don't like it. Who's that handsome devil? He's a devil, I'll tell you that. Your mind changes, your body changes. And see, this is me. We'll explore this a little bit. I won't bore you, but this is me trying to figure out my focus and how I'm going about this. So, repetition is good. Everything about you changes. Most, if not all, of the cells of your body change out through the course of your lifetime. There may be some cardiac cells that are still the same. So, what is it about you that makes you you? If everything changes out. Now, a dimension of your being evolves, changes. You're a new person this moment than you were the last moment. You're not the same person. But something has persistence. Something is at least the same throughout your lifetime. Eternal. What is that? Simple question. Maybe not. Set it down if it's not. What is it about you that's still the same? All right, so really, you know, right now it's a big thank you for sticking with me on this journey to get started here. We're gonna see how this pans out. Maybe we'll pick up the show tomorrow or this afternoon, um, and we'll go from there. But that's a good start. We'll just pick up with this last video. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, right here. There's several more videos, so we got some time here to talk. But this is a really neat place. We'll pick this up some more. Thank you.